wanna talk with you.
And I would like to know, do you enjoy being in the field of music?
That's only real I know. I really enjoy it.
Peace to everybody out there in the comic book, fandom world, collectible, what have you, cosplay, whatever you're into. This is Vic Vega from Edge of Vegaverse, and I'm here with Roy Mitchell Eavins II, founder and coordinator of Urban Nerdom.
How's it going, bro?
Everything's everything, man.
Hey, no doubt.
Yeah, so definitely a pleasure to meet you and delve in with you about this new exploration and event that you have going. And I believe your first one was last year in Alabama, correct?
2022.
Oh,
It was actually 2022. Yeah, we were in Montgomery, Alabama.
Nice.
We always wanted to do it here in Atlanta, but they made us an offer we couldn't refuse.
Nice.
So we went down for that one. But we're excited to be back here.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that when you got a good offer, you know?
Right. Most definitely.
So how did you feel about the turnout at that event?
I wasn't as happy. But I think because I thought there could have been a little bit more, some things that they were going to do to kind of get some stuff going. And then in their city, it ended up being like the weekend right before school started. So, parents are out school shopping and all that kind of stuff. But everybody else was cool, man. We had about almost 2,000 people for the first one. It was between 1,600 and 1,800 folks.
Okay.
That came out. And, one of the things that made me feel a little bit better about the overall process is pretty much everybody that was there was like, this was the best first year con I had ever been to.
That's dope.
So I was like, all right, I feel a little bit better, hearing that.
Yeah.
But you always want more. So
yeah, I had seen some YouTube footage and looked like people had a great time there. And there was a lot of people showing up, as far as guests and attendees, cosplay and everything. So I think, sometimes it takes that first time just to get the vibe of it, and then
no doubt
the follow up. All right, this is what we're gonna do next.
Right.
So what can we expect in
this year? It's gonna be a party, a lot of different ways, man. A lot of fun. One of our core things is that we are bringing more exposure to those characters, creators, and characters, creators, people who are just engaged, who are in the diaspora, we like to call it the African diaspora, the black and brown folks who are out there, because they just don't get a lot of attention. We unfortunately had to postpone it. We were initially set to do July of 2023,
right?
But we had to postpone it. The crazy thing about us postponing it, it's like I think the postponement got a lot more publicity than some of the stuff that we had been doing before.
Right.
Man, I started getting calls from booking agents like all over the place. I mean, like literally 30, 40 booking agents a week. Hey, I got this guy who'd love to come to your con. I got this girl and she'd love to be in there. And it's just, getting people who they're like, we don't get invited to other cons.
Right.
And so, that's what this thing is about for us. Putting those folks out there. So
absolutely,
it's looking good, man.
Yeah, that's I've actually made some acquaintances and friendships with like some of these cons and comic shops that I met fellow creators. Like shout out to my guy Tyler Martin, creator owner of Godhood Comic Books. He's been at a few of some of these events in here. But question is, what inspired you and what's the spark for you to create this Urban Nerd Con? Because it's a pretty dope brand.
Man, growing up in the 70s and the 80s as a nerd, being a black nerd was just not always easy, just blurred, whatever, they want to call it, man. It was one of those things, lucky for me, I kind of had a little easier time than a lot of folks did because I was also an athlete. So, people didn't really get on me too much. My teammates did when they found out that I was into the Star Wars, the Star Trek, and, all this stuff, Battlestar Galactica. Those are my joints, back in the day. But, and then being able to go to the space, being in the spaces, going around to cons or events and stuff like that. We were, back then it was really marginalized. We were few and far between, seeing somebody who looked like you that you could be like, yo, how it is. And, it just, we were kind of alienated a little bit back then. And so the big thing for me is that I wanted to create a space where the kids can come in.
Right.
and see people that look like them to help spark their imagination.
Absolutely.
You know, it's just, you know.
A lot of people can't be comfortable in their skin. Like where I grew up at, it was pretty tough to be into anime comics and stuff like that. Like everybody low key was into it.
You didn't talk
outside,
about it.
you didn't talk about it. Like I actually had to, you know, I was an artist, great at drawing and things of that nature, but like due to the circumstances outside, it kind of like I gave away my comics and I just gave away my passions because I started getting into the influence that was outside of it because it was too victimizing, you know?
Yeah.
So to have a place where people of Black and brown can actually be themselves and have a community, that is so vital because like some people, they just can't express their passions and their imaginative, you know, childhood joys like they would like to because of how people, you know,
people react
stigma
to
on them, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, and like I said, it was, you know, it was rough back in the 70s and the 80s doing it, man. It was, you know, one of those things, but that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to create that space and, you know, especially, like I said, especially for young kids.
Yeah.
This is like when you, just like the whole thing when they talked about Obama being the president, you know, now Black kids everywhere believe that they can be presidents. They've seen a guy like that. So it's the same thing in this situation. You know, you meet a guy who's a superhero in a movie and you're like, okay, I can be a superhero. I can draw this superhero. I can create this thing now. So.
Yeah, raising the bar, opening those doors.
Yeah, man.
You know, and then more people, you know, get, I would say inspired and to be proactive within it. And I could imagine like each year, each event, it's a steady growth, you know. What are some of your partners with this venture?
We definitely received that growth piece, man. But of course, you know, my man Tony here, Challenges Games and Comics. So yeah, he's one of the big partners in what we're doing. Open World Comics. And they also create games. They're a comic book company. They also create games. Retro Gaming Lounge. They do our gaming space. We have an open game space that they come out and put it out there so kids and adults can go and play games.
Which location is that one?
Well, they're actually based out of South Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're not here. I think they used to be here.
I know there's one in Kennesaw called Retro something that we go to. It's like arcades and pinballs and old games.
Okay.
And stuff.
Yeah, no. This was, they used to be. I'm not sure. I know they're in South Carolina now.
Yeah.
Kevin Grievous, one of our guests. A lot of folks may not recognize his name right off, but if you're into the Underworld series, the Vampires and Lycans, also Blue Marvel, he's the creator of those. You know, that's like one of the things a lot of people didn't know. It freaked me out.
Right.
I've always loved those Underworld movies, and then getting a chance to meet him and find out he was a Black guy, I was like, "Yo, that's dope!" You know,
my sister's a huge fan of the Underworld series.
Yeah. I mean, he's a cool guy, man. He's, you know, big dude. He's been in so many things that I've seen, and it was funny once, you know, get a chance to talk to him. And he's got one of those big booming, you know, James Earl Jones, bassy voice. Dude, it's crazy.
That bass baritone voice.
Definitely. And so, I mean, it's funny listening to him, but he's a real cool guy, man. So, you know, guys like that, we're doing some stuff.
So, I guess if you could highlight some of the guests that you have arriving to this event this year.
Man, yeah, let's just, you know, this year we've got some folks who are, so let's just say this. One of the things is that we're a fan con. And the reason for that is because we are focused on, like I said, the Black and brown folks who are in the diaspora. So we cover all of the different genres, and things that are going on. Kind of go back. I'm going to start back and come up to today. One of the guests that we have is a lady named Trina Parks. So Trina Parks danced with Alvin Ailey, but she also was the first Black Bond girl.
Oh, wow.
With Sean Connery in Diamonds Are Forever. She played Thumper.
That's awesome.
We have Tim and Daphne Reed, who, of course, a lot of folks know. Like, I first remember Tim Reed from WKRP in Cincinnati. And you know,
I remember that.
Everybody,
I used to watch that.
Right. Most folks remember him from Sister, and stuff like that. Of course, Daphne Maxwell Reed, she was the second Aunt Viv for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and engaged in a lot of stuff. Man, they actually also had a production company. You know, a lot of folks were talking about that Tyler Perry was the first Black-owned production company. Actually wasn't. They had theirs back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and did some great movies and stuff that came out of their thing. brother and sister tandem, Phil and Iona Morris. Not sure if you remember the original Mission Impossible TV series. Greg Morris was their dad, but Phil played in. He did Smallville. He played the Martian Manhunter in Smallville. His sister was actually the voice of Storm in the '90s X-Men cartoon.
Yeah, she had that dramatic voice.
Yeah, man.
The winds and
So it's like, those are some of the old school folks, man, that we've got who come out who, like I said, these are the folks that go back to our childhood.
Right.
And doing the stuff.
Absolutely.
Now we got also Amber May is coming out. Kenshin, she's the voice in a couple of different characters in some major games that are out now. I think like top-rated games that are out now. Daryl Cash, right? I always say his name wrong. Hold on, let me see here. Then we're gonna get it here. Catero Colbert. That I always get it mixed up with Catero Colbert. Does a lot of voice work and stuff. Greg Anthony Sturgis. Now a lot of you remember Static. He played Ebon in the Static. He was the main villain in the Static. In the Static shows, he's gonna be out there. Clifton Powell is gonna be here. Clifton Powell's been everybody's bad guy in videos and stuff like that. And then he was actually the preacher in Black Lightning. The latest thing that he had in that
CW edition.
Yep. And let's see, the other one, Tim Russ. This is one of the old school again. Tim Russ was on Star Trek Voyager. He played the Black Vulcan. Everybody, Tuvok, that a lot of folks remember. Giovanni Samuels, Gary Gray, our Nickelodeon folks. Like, we've got about 5 or 6 folks who were part of that late 90s into the 2000s Nickelodeon family. Between Angelique, that's a Giovanni, Tangi, just, Gary Gray, just different folks, man. We're going to do some stuff. You see the Final Destination movies? Creator of those, Jeffrey Reddick. He's going to be there. Another brother who created that one, so.
That movie had people walking around ladders and not passing black cats. Man.
Look, no, not driving. The main was not driving behind the wood trucks. That's the main thing.
I think that left a scar on my life. Every time I see like a truck on the highway with wood, I think about Final Destination. Let's not do that.
But that's it, man. Like I said, dude, we got some great folks coming out. People that when you see them, you're gonna recognize them. Even if you didn't know their names, when you hear these voices, you're gonna be like, "Yo, that's you." That
definitely.
Kind of thing. So
I come from that era, and even in the '90s, going to 2000s, my siblings, would have on that Nickelodeon. Cartoons and these shows.
My kids grew up on these folks. When my daughter was looking at it, she was like, "Oh my god!" I'm just like, "Okay, wow, I guess you do remember these people, huh?" She's like, "Yeah." So.
I wish my brother was down here. He would have been going crazy when he sees the list of the stars that's going to be here. But I think, and I hope that this year the turnout is even more expensive because Atlanta's good, staple to have a con at, I would think.
That's what we're hoping. We're hoping that being here, that it's going to definitely be something major for us. Of course, we'd love to be able to minimum at least double what we did down in Montgomery, which we should just from a population perspective.
Show up, support, let's dole it up.
And listen, let's $50. So I've been so busy that I was supposed to take our price was supposed to increase last week.
Oh yeah.
I just haven't had a chance to do that. So I was like, you know what? We'll just let it ride out through the end of the month. So what that means is that badges are still only $50 for the weekend. Not only that, but the BOGO deal is still going. So 2 people can get the entire weekend for $50.
That's wild.
Not at a con, and here's the other thing that we're doing that's kind of different. Well, there are 2 things. I'll start with let's start with my favorite part of it. That's our con bucks. So we have what we call our young nerd badges. Those are for kids 12 and under that they can come. They're $25 for the entire weekend, right? Not at all. But the other thing about that is each kid gets $10 back to spend in what we call con bucks at the event. And the reason for that is that we don't want any kid to leave without something that can spark their imagination.
Right.
We want them to be able to walk away with stuff like that. And so, that's what that's one of the things that we're doing with that. And people can donate. You can actually donate con bucks.
Right.
So the badges for the kids, and we're giving those out to local youth groups and programs and stuff for them to bring the kids out for free.
That's
so again,
really
it's
cool. That's like a very
$10.
strong altruistic type of thing to do. I definitely respect that.
You know, again, I was one of those kids that had to choose when we went on the field trips. I'm either going to eat lunch or I'm going to, you know, be able to buy something. And you know, lunch normally won out, but you know, in this situation, I want kids to be able. Like I said, I don't want any kid to leave without being able to get something that they can do with that. The other thing that we're doing is, so between 10 a.m. when we open up, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. is going to be all of our family friendly stuff. You know, it's all about the families and kids coming out and being able to do stuff. Vendor hall is going to close at 6 o'clock. We reopen the con though at 7 o'clock for 21 and older.
Oh, that's dope.
So adult gaming, adult cosplay, panels, conversations, events, and all that stuff. We're gonna have a whole lot of fun.
That's when the fun starts for me, because like DragonCon, I always missed the 21 and over. One time I had my daughter, she was a 21, I had to take her home. It was always that, damn, it's probably really fun, you know, like at nighttime for the adults and whatnot.
Yeah, man, we're gonna have some really cool stuff. We've got some things. Can't make the announcements now. I'll get back with you though. We've got a couple of people that are gonna be talking about coming out that's gonna be kind of cool if they show up.
All right. Yeah, we'll definitely keep it updated, like on social media and on the channel as well. What are some of the vendors like that's gonna be?
Oh man. So here's the crazy part about the vendors. We had when we had our initial dates again was last July. We were gonna do last weekend in July. We had already sold out of vendor spaces.
Oh wow.
And then when we had to postpone, we ended up losing probably about 15, maybe 20.
Yeah.
Within a week after we postponed the original event.
Yeah.
Dude, I had like 50 new vendors like, hey, is there any space left and available for the
people
con?
are hungry, man.
And it's crazy. We've got some great folks that are going to be out there. Now, all of them, and actually the vendors are not, but we're updating the map and everything because we just finished doing some stuff with them this month.
Right.
They will all be on the site, but you'll be able to go and check out the site. But we've got different comic book creators. I mean, I want to say we've probably got about, of the 70 or so vendors we have, we've probably got about, I know we have at least 25 comic book creators that are there. I mean, the artists, you know, for Artist Alley who will be there. You know, people just doing all kind of different stuff, man. But all that information will be on the site. You'll be able to see some of those, you know, you get a map. Check them out. But yeah, we've got it. That was one of the things, and the majority of our vendors stayed on even when we had to postpone. They were like, "Dude, just let us know when you got the
date." Real authentic people, you know.
That was for the cause. I was grateful of that. That also was one of the things that helped keep me going with this process.
Right.
Because it gets rough.
I could imagine like things that's going wrong. People no call, no shows, last minute changes. The numbers. You know?
Yeah, that's the big thing, man. So that's what I said, you know, the biggest thing people ask, well, what can we do to help? Buy a badge, donate a Young Nerd badge. You know, it's badge pre-sales are really how these things go. You know, we're so accustomed to seeing stuff like Dragon Con, like MomoCon, like Atlanta Comic Con. Right. You know, these events that have been around 15, 10 to 20 years or whatever.
Kind of vetted.
It's right. So people, you know, they're accustomed to them, they know it. So of course they buy their stuff early for those.
Right.
But, you know, that's the thing with us being new, I think is probably the big thing with it. And I think people, and you know what, I would say this not just for our event, but any small con that's trying to start up, if you can support, you know, buy early badges, that helps them, because there's a large outlay of money that people don't realize and understand about how this process has to work. So
yeah, I could imagine, because when I think about all the space and everything that it takes, the equipment, getting the people together, the help, you know, that's all numbers, that's all money based. And everybody watching this, spread the word, and if you know somebody that would be interested in attending and supporting, please do.
TheUrbanNerdCon.net. Bam.
Right there. You heard it first here. Well, not first, but it's a pleasure though.
Yeah, man. Look, thank you.
Yeah. Sorority, brother. I saw that on your Facebook page.
No, well, fraternity. I'm a fraternity. I'm a fraternity guy. Yeah, I'm a member of Phi Beta Sigma.
I'm gonna edit that.
Gotcha. It's all good. Yeah, I'm a Phi Beta Sigma.
That's what's up. And yeah, we're looking forward to attending, and we're probably gonna have the cameras rolling when we're over there at the Urban Nerdcon as well.
Make sure you sign up. We'll get with you because what we're doing is anybody that has a podcast, they have the ability to actually sign up and do a live broadcast from the con.
Oh, dope.
From the main floor of the con.
Yeah, I think we're definitely gonna be doing that.
Yeah.
They go the man with the plane right there, Tony.
Oh, I thought y'all were live.
Oh, no. It's gonna get all chopped up, edited, you know, and then just put it up on the channel. I didn't want to do live because I know sometimes I make the biggest mistakes, like verbally, or like a retarded face that I could easily clip out.
Well, that's what people want to tune in live. So they can catch you straight.
Yeah, I'm not the brightest with that. Huh? It's done? All right. I mean, we got through it, so that's a good thing.
Oh, I don't want to go through that no more.